Hey guys, it's Ian here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another Witchblade review. Today we're looking at issue number 6. This is cover B. I would have loved to have cover A, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get it. It's not a big deal for me. It doesn't really make much of a difference, but I think I like the way cover A looks a bit more than cover B. Just the style of this art is not my favorite, but the coloring is pretty good, so it's all right either way. So in terms of the team here, it's the same as always. We have Bennett, Cafaro, Prianto, and Pateri working together, and this is a pretty good issue. I like it. I think it's finally opening up the world a bit more, and we're getting more out of the characters, which is great. I'm loving that. We haven't seen the Witchblade for a while, and it finally makes a comeback here, and I'm quite happy about that. So we open up with Kenneth Irons kind of just walking around his mansion or his house or his office, whatever it might be, just kind of enjoying the fact that the 3 ancient relics that he's talking about, the darkness, I guess the Magdalene or the other thing, and the Witchblade are all awakening, and they're coming to ripeness, and they're getting ready to be unleashed, and he's very happy about that. He's looking forward to the coming chaos, especially because he seems to think that he controls them, and if that is the case, then he is the one that will bring chaos to the world, as far as I understand it. We transition away from him at this point. We come back to Sarah's apartment, where we see that Pisano, the guy that she chased down last week, is giving his side of the story. He's telling her that he was Sarah's dad's partner for 20 years, although he doesn't look like he's like 60. He looks like he's like 30 something. He looks only slightly older than Sarah and Ian, even though he's someone that's supposed to be, a junkie and rather old if he's been Sarah's dad's partner for more than 20 years, right? If he'd known him for that long. So that was a bit of a concern I had, that the character doesn't look the age that he would look, and he doesn't have the way that he would look to him, like the expected visage that you would want, right? And he tells her that he trusted, or that Sarah's dad trusted his boss, what's it called? His name is Siri, right? Over his partner Pisano, and that got him killed. And he tells her that before that happened, he gave something to Pisano, and he shows her a sickle key. And she's deeply surprised by this, and she takes it from him. He tells her, hey, are we square now? I gave you all the information that I needed to give you. And she's like, hell no, we're not square. You let my dad die, right? And before she leaves the room, we get to see that Ian and Michael are having a bit of a tense conversation, right? They're arguing because Michael thinks that Ian is the person at fault for Sarah separating herself from her usual people. It's not actually, she's just doing it herself, but Ian is tied into it, right? So he's kind of right, even if he's not completely correct. And he actually tells Ian that he is a mall ninja weeaboo, and I thought that was hilarious. I love that. I think it's very fun when we get references to weebs and manga stuff in comic books. I appreciate that a lot. And it's also because he carries around a katana like a weirdo, and I appreciate that Michael says that to him. And as Ian and Michael are about to get to blows, Sarah shows up, and she stops them by asking Ian, what the hell, why does Pisano have a sickle key? And as she's about to get information out of it, she gets Michael to leave. Michael doesn't want to. He's telling her that Ian is isolating her for his own uses, that he's trying to manipulate her, which is true, but not exactly, or not in the way that Michael thinks, right? And Sarah thinks about the fact that Michael could die if he continues down this path, if he continues to help her. And so she finds a way to force him to leave so that he doesn't die, and so that his family doesn't have to suffer the same things that she suffered. And Michael doesn't get this, probably because Sarah's bad at explaining herself, but he does leave. And then Sarah and Ian have a conversation. She asks him about the key. He explains to Sarah that it's old magic, but it's not that rare, and that it is tied to her father's bloodline. So if she is his real daughter, he should be able to open the door. They just need one with a lock. And then she asks him who he works for. He says that he works for no one, but he wants to follow her. And Ian wants to be her man, her first soldier, her sword against the darkness. And this is really cool. I love how that looks. Like, the way that they drew this was awesome. But Sarah isn't really buying it, and she gets mad at him. And then she and Ian open a door, with the sickle key, and she finds her father's hidden study. She gets all of the information that she was missing from her father's disappearance, all of the information that somehow wasn't available, she manages to open the door, finally gets a little bit of closure, and before that happens, Pisano explodes into creosote larva, and it turns into a big fight. Sarah finally realizes that this person is not Pisano, but rather Winter. He has 3 faces that he wears, which is one of the things that the ladies told us earlier in one of the books. I think it was in book 3 or issue 3. And she starts fighting him. It turns out that he's preparing the world for the darkness, and that he's actually not a human trafficker, but rather a corpse trafficker, so that people can, or that the creosote larva can use the bodies of these people, right? And then the building is blown up. Sarah manages to use the fire to try to kill these creosotes, and she manages to save some children that were still stuck there, and hopefully no one dies. And I think no one does, so that's good. There's rain coming at this point, and it helps clear up the issues with the fire. And Sarah tells Ian that he has to take her to where he works now. And so we set up this idea that Sarah is going to go fight Kenneth Irons, but before that happens, we know that the darkness is coming in issue 7, and I'm very excited to see what that's like, what happens here going forward. So overall, really enjoyed this book. I thought it was great. I wonder if we're going to get a Darkness series, or if it's just going to be intricately tied to the Witchblade, maybe just kind of a slower pace, right? I'm not really sure how that's going to happen, but I'm curious about that. Because I know that Darkness used to have its own series, and I'm sure that they would like to have one now, but maybe they don't have the right people to work on it, right? And they want to have this like synergistic vibe going on, and that's kind of hard to do if you have multiple creators, right? So I'm curious to see where that goes. But overall, great issue. I really liked it. I had a fun time with this. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought down below, and I'll see you guys next time.